Hey, well, welcome to the Insight Line. It is a journey along the ARC path. My name is Casey, and what a joy it is to be with you. Today, we're going to address the reality that life is hard and the world is not getting any easier. And yet, that is not an excuse, nor a lens we want to get stuck in, recognizing that, well, I guess there's nothing we can do about it. So, today on the Insight Line, we are addressing the reality that validation is a drug we desire. This phrase and statement comes out of our art group coaching, which is tonight at 7 o'clock if you want to dig in and get a little deeper. But we use this phrase this week about restoration, that I express validation, affirmation, and motivation to myself and others. And that really is an invite for us to dig a little deeper into how do you do that? What does that look like? Is that even possible? So many of us are dependent on other people to motivate us. We need somebody outside of us to get us moving and going. The same thing comes in with affirmation. We wait for somebody else to tell us we did a good job. And yet we don't even address this concept of validation. And validation is a drug we desire. And today what we're going to do is we're going to unpack a little bit. Why am I using the phrase a drug we desire? Is that negative? Is it good? Is it bad? It is healthy. And I'm going to unpack for you, how do we go about finding a healthy way to really engage this validation that is going to build us up and not make us dependent on something else that's going to let us down. The Insight Line simply makes us aware of where we're at. Along the ARC path, we acknowledge, we heal, we restore, and we celebrate a kingdom moment. And what this brings to us is the opportunity to go, oh, that's where I'm at. And then we get to make a shift. We get to make a change. Do I want to be somewhere else? If we don't know where we're at, then it's going to be impossible to know how to get somewhere else. And along the journey in the middle, we kind of go, what do I want? That's a part of this process. We come into this journey with some affirmation. Where am I? Motivation. Am I willing to go somewhere new? Is it going to be too much work? What if I don't make it? Validation. I did it. I made it. This is working for me. And then we're going to bring it into a little bit of a deeper understanding. And these are some concepts that I'm setting up to share with you. We may have a guest, but at the same time today, I'm not sure that we need a guest, because this is really about us being able to express validation to ourselves, motivation to ourselves, and affirmation to ourselves. As I say those words, I want to invite you to think about which one of those affirmation, validation, motivation comes most naturally to you. That's a question for you to reflect on. Are you able to motivate yourself to do something hard? Are you able to affirm yourself in the absence of other people telling you, you're amazing, you're doing great, we're so proud of you? Are you able to find validation for who you are? Not for what you do or what you want to do, but just for who you are. That element of being. And that's why we take this one and pull it out. So let's dig a little deeper here on this. Validation is a drug we desire. We desire to be seen, heard, understood, known, loved. These are elements of our validation. They bring us into the place of, I matter. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we are looking for in our validation. Do I matter? Is somebody going to be different because I showed up? Well, the answer is yes. And the ARC path is there to invite you to walk that out and discover that truth. To acknowledge that I matter simply means that I'm going to acknowledge that there's a lot of possibilities of how I can show up different in the world. When I step into healing and I address this element of validation, I have to begin to recognize, there's a lot of outside, external validation I didn't get. Even the best of parents. I try to be the best of parents, but we don't always bring the validation to our children that they were looking for. We get busy. We use the wrong words. We misunderstand the question or the situation. And it's very likely that every child in the universe at some point has felt unvalidated by their parents. Even to the point that if all they got was validation, 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 they began to wonder, is it real? I mean, nobody else is experiencing this. So validation can be tricky. So we move into the restoration path and we recognize, how can I create my own validation? If it is this drug that we desire, how can I be present with myself? A lot of that has to do with our mindset. A lot of that has to do with how do we speak to ourselves? A lot of that has to do with how do we see ourselves as somebody who can impact the world? Some of that just has the simple reality of, do I believe in who I am? I ask the question often, is it hard to be me? That's a lifestyle question. I'm walking you through the 5 lenses without using them by name. And I'm simply inviting you that every aspect of life is going to invite you to ask, do I matter? Does it make a difference if I show up? Will they really miss me if I don't go? Does it matter if I send a card? Do I make a phone call? These are things that we wrestle with. Is anybody going to care about me? Social media makes this complicated. How many likes did I get? Nobody's following me. But nobody answered my question. I put a poll out there and nobody answered. I deal with these things every day. What are you dealing with? If you're following along live with us, feel free to drop in a question about validation, affirmation, or motivation and how it is or isn't working for you. I want to bring us into this understanding of what these 3 are. So let's look at validation first. Validation is this acknowledgement and acceptance for who I am in my experience. The way that we really know that we're stepping into validation is we push away the judgment. We push away the decision of, is it worth it? You are worth it, whatever it is. Now, you can misconstrue that and say, well, then I deserve it. I didn't say anything about that. I just said you're worth it. Your worth is not in question. And as you begin to embrace yourself and really see yourself as who you are, you can move into this place and give yourself a pat on the back. Just simply pat yourself on the back and say, you got this. This is a validation of who you are as an individual, and it brings it into this place that we can push off the judgment. Sometimes it's self-judgment. I should have been better by now. I thought I would have done something bigger in the world. Take a deep breath and recognize you're on a journey. Life is a process. It's not just about getting to the goal or the destination or the end, because if you get there and you worked really hard and then you go, now what? Well, you're just going to keep working really hard. Along the way, validation is essential. And how do we go about finding this? How do we go about embracing this? We come into this place to say it's okay to not be okay. No judgment here. You're here. You're present. You find the now moment. And it's okay if you say, you know what? Life is really hard. And I take a deep breath when life is really hard and I go, I can be present in that moment. This is that validation aspect. As we look at affirmation, it's a little different than validation. Affirmation is a positive sense of encouragement. It's shouting out that I see where you're going and what you're doing. It's you're on your way. We want that affirmation, and affirmation often comes in so many different ways. Affirmation can simply be a paycheck. Now, imagine you go to your job, you get a paycheck, but you still don't like your job because you don't feel like anybody sees you or knows you there. This is the missing element of validation in the different lens rather than affirmation. Affirmation says you showed up, you did your job, you got a paycheck, there you go. But you can still feel completely unvalidated in the work you do. Let's look at the other third word is motivation. Motivation is this inspiration to do the hard things, to go into new directions. Motivation can be found in so many different external sources and some internal. All of what I want to bring to light today is we actually have a capacity. You do, not just me. I'm sharing it as through an AHRK path lens that when you begin to get in touch with who you are and embrace who you are, you will come into alignment. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions will come into alignment along the AHRK path, and you will naturally, and I'm going to use a big word in neurotransmitters, you will physiologically find ways to build yourself up. to, to have a sense of, I matter in this world, even regardless of anybody else giving you that confirmation back. So let me touch these neurotransmitter concepts as the drug we desire, and I'm going to put them together. The first one with motivation, maybe you've heard the word dopamine. Okay, dopamine is really about recognizing this element of we're going to push down pain, we're going to raise up pleasure, and we're going to recognize that I'm getting closer to the goals I'm going after. I have an engine inside of me that wants to reward me for being in pursuit of something I desire. And dopamine is that element of saying, if I set a goal and I move in that direction, I feel a reward as I move closer to it. It's a natural drug. Let's look at another one, the affirmation. Affirmation, I'm going to look at it as through the physical exercise of the endorphins. Okay, when you start bulking up and you're lifting weights and somebody says, hey, I noticed you're working out, it's a huge element of this going, yeah, it's working. But the endorphin comes in the exercise itself. So when you're doing the work, when you're walking out the AHRK path and you're leaning into what am I going to release through healing? What am I going to take on through restoration? There's some work of saying I'm digging in and I'm doing the work, and it can be hard. When you work out, it can be hard. Some of us, it's harder to do the interpersonal work. And you have a natural response to doing the hard work. It's called an endorphin. It simply is going to rise up and give you that element of doing the work. Today we're talking about validation and the drug we desire. And there's two drugs, neurotransmitters inside of you that want to kick in. One is serotonin. Simply walk outside and stand in the sun. If you don't live where the sun shines, go be in a room with green plants. That needs some sunshine too. I'm sorry, I'm a Southern Californian. It's one of the best things about living here is I can find the sun. But where you find a place where you feel that sense of peace, it might be in a book. It might be recognizing you wrote in your journal. That's the serotonin that's going to bring you peace. A lot of that kicks in when we rest and we're at a sense of, I belong here. This is the right moment. Another internal drug that comes with this validation element that's just a natural responder is oxytocin. Now, you can go look up these internal neurotransmitters. What I'm highlighting for you is the holistic lens of bringing it all together. That was a lot. So let's slow it down. Let's think through, where am I at today? How do I engage this? Declarations are the easiest way to bring affirmation. I am overcoming. I am growing. I am learning. I am anything positive that you place after the I am statement is an affirmation. And that affirmation can be brought to yourself to move yourself into the place where you begin to go, what is your strength? What is your gift? What is your talent? Can you speak it? I am talented. How do you make that personal for you? As we look at the validation, it's simply I am. You don't need another word to come after that. I am. I am, you can add I am here. I am connecting. I'm present. They're not action words. They're not limited to you. They're simply bringing you into this place to recognize that you have feelings. I am angry is validation. It doesn't have to be positive. I'm hurt. I'm sad. Feel those feelings. Recognize those feelings. Again, contrast it with affirmation. Affirmation is often the positive encouragement that you are able to pursue. Validation is an acknowledgement of where you're at in the moment. John Eldredge is an author that I enjoyed, and maybe Bernard will join me and we'll talk about John Eldredge. But this sense of every man has the desire to know that he has what it takes. Every woman desires to know that she is beautiful. Now, we can judge that and stereotype it, but at the same time, what it's calling out is this element of saying something inside of me is looking for validation. Affirmation is a cheap exchange from validation. I want to invite you today to recognize that validation is available for you, and it's yours to give to yourself. When we get dependent on others to validate us, well, we begin to chase it. And anything you chase becomes elusive. So Marina just dropped the question in that talks about, well, how do we overcome the fact that we're really looking for somebody else to tell us, I see you, I hear you, you did a good job. Well, first off, acknowledge it. Begin to recognize it. But what I'm going to invite you to do is begin to speak to yourself that way. Begin to build up internal metrics of how do I validate myself? By speaking life, not for accomplishment, but simply having gratitude for life. By exercising a sense of this oxytocin element and affirming your body. Okay, stand in front of the mirror and compliment yourself. You can actually bless yourself that way. Okay, as we go into the serotonin of how do I find that in myself? Like I said, find a peaceful spot and sit there for 5 minutes, and then don't judge yourself. The last one we haven't really talked about as much as motivation. I'm just kind of wrapping this up, and then we'll invite Bernard to join us. Motivation is this element of you can inspire yourself. As you lean into this element of really believing that you can change the world. Now set a goal and make it small and then accomplish it and then go again. Set a goal, make it small, and then go again. You are wired to hit these moments. You are wired to have a motivation factor. You are wired to have an affirmation factor. You're wired to seek validation. And today what we're talking about is beware. If you don't give it to yourself, you will find it in somebody else. And if you find it in somebody else, you become dependent on that person for your well-being, for your happiness, for your joy, for your peace of mind. And that's a dangerous place to be. So I'm going to pause there on what I'm bringing to you, and I'm going to invite Bernard to join us and help us pick this up and decide where do we go next. Bernard, join us.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
You're good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
A lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to know that we have within us all that is required.
That's so rich.
I mean, we could add more to that sentence, but just leave it there.
Yeah, no, it's a great
Bernard,
insight.
you're lacking nothing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I believe that, actually. And that it's not something, I didn't know that for a long time. And I think that's a big journey when we're talking about such a serious topic as validation. Raise your hand if you didn't know what Casey just said. Was it even a topic? Forget.
Raise your hand if it was overwhelming and it was too much.
Well, you know what? But at the end of the day, it might have been overwhelming too much, and you might want to watch this 5 more times. And at the end of the day, it's the just beginning to understand that this is a real thing. You're without awareness, you're just you're living this out automatically because you're designed to. And so whether you have an awareness of it or not, it's happening to you.
Yeah.
And so now that you have an awareness going, what is this topic? It's the mechanism. It's a biological, mental, spiritual, emotional mechanism that drives your everyday life. And now there's this thing, if I don't get, oh my gosh, what a great shirt. I love this. These affirmations, it's like, wait, I've been waiting for you to notice me.
Yeah.
And it's these things, guys, if we don't know these triggers and how we respond and how others respond to what we do, we think it's just random. That person is that person is this. And the shift is this topic is real. And I'm so glad that you're touching it.
We're going to touch it today. And when Bernard affirms my shirt today, here's the trap that we're just drawing to a light is if now I wear this shirt next time and Bernard doesn't say anything, he doesn't like the shirt anymore. Or tomorrow I wear something different. We're going to go live and I like, what do you think of what I'm wearing?
Correct.
I'm now searching out this, tell me I'm okay.
Yes.
The difference maker is when you can look in your closet and go, I want to wear that because I feel confident in that.
Yes.
I want to wear that because it speaks to me where I'm going today. Now, if somebody compliments you along the way, brings you the affirmation, it builds on that, and it's a bonus category. However, when somebody says, that is the ugliest shirt I have ever seen, you can look at that and go, huh, glad it's not on you. I mean, it's, but if you don't already have a sense of that knowing, gosh, that can land deep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it does every day. I mean, I think without having this awareness, we just don't know what's happening to us. And I think and the worst part about it is a lot of this happens in your inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we get, that's where we're wounded the most, and that's where we get wounded the most. I mean, your average stranger is not going to come up to you going, I don't really like what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're
Yeah.
dressing. It's the people that are closest to you, and you go, okay, I'm going to put up a wall here, a wall there, and then you start looking like
And Bernard, what you're highlighting, and it's the one layer deeper. It's that serotonin and that oxytocin that come in the place of peace. When you're not at peace when you're home, when you're not at peace with the people that you're supposed to be safe with, you can just flush that out the door. And the oxytocin is about touch. It's about connection.
Yep.
It's about bonding. And that's why it hurts so much when it's not happening in the place where we desire it most,
Yep.
which is why I'm highlighting today that validation is a drug we desire. That desire is not wrong.
No,
That
it's
desire
not.
is not wicked or dark.
No.
It's simply part of your wiring. And I want to invite you to, again, to walk on the AHRK path to say, how do I speak to myself? So I invite you tonight at group coaching, 7 p.m. tonight, Pacific Standard Time. Message us, and if you're watching this, and we will send you the link, because we want you to jump in and recognize that what we're addressing today is the restoration element of AHRK. Validation. How do we do it? Declare. We spend time with people who encourage us. We spend time with ourselves. We do self-awareness.
Yes.
These are just some checklists that you can go down and go, okay. But now what's before that and what's after that? That's AHRK group coaching.
Love that. Love that. And it does take practice. Why? Is because you've had a lifetime of practicing it the other way.
Mm.
And the other way going, tell me that I'm good. It starts with our parents and those, the other, those other circles around us where we become interdependent on each other in an unhealthy way.
Oh,
And it's unfortunate, but it's just you have to relearn. And but it begins with acknowledgement, going, hey, you know what, there is a better way for me to strengthen my self-confidence, my self-image, my self-esteem, my self-worth. And again, once you start recognizing, going, oh, wait a minute, just like Casey said, I personally love my style. I love the way I groom my hair. I love just you celebrate you. And if you can't celebrate this, then go get something else that you can celebrate. And you go, oh, wait a minute, this I can celebrate. Because otherwise you're going to be going around going, hey, do I look good? Do I sound good? Do I smell good? Do I? And that's a very exhausting way to live.
and we can get it so addicted to it. The pursuit of it. If you're a parent and you're watching, I'm not going to go into the details, but go look up the difference between praise and encouragement on how you speak to your kids. We can become praise junkies as kids or as parents. Good job, way to go, I'm so proud of you. But if it's always connected to something they did, that we're missing out on this validation for just who they are.
Yes.
They're just pursuing, did I do good? And you're
Yep.
like, yeah, you did good. You're 38. I'm proud of you. But then you see that sense of, but I don't know yet if it's really going to last. We want to break that chain.
Yes.
We want to break that dependency. Nobody wants a drug dependency on something outside. And today on the AHRK path, we're bringing you into the path of recognizing that where you begin to acknowledge the best version of yourself, that's not a pursuit of something in the future. That's today.
Yes.
That's just right now. Today, right now. We're not saying you're gonna make it someday. No, Bernard, today is the best version of you.
Amen. Amen.
Would tomorrow could you improve that for tomorrow? Would you like to?
I would love to. I would love to. And that's what you aim for. It's just
Yeah.
every day, but you have to have that mindset. Otherwise, tomorrow, I can't wait. Tomorrow is just going to be another day. It's going to be tougher. I have to do this. Unless you learn to celebrate and you transition to a mindset where every day is an amazing day. It's an opportunity. It's there. I get to build something. I get to do nothing today. Today, I'm going to sit. I'm going to read. I'm going to write. I don't want to engage. And these are choices, how I'm going to
Hmm.
celebrate my day, my time. And ultimately, if we learn how to celebrate our lives and ourselves, then we can better learn to celebrate others. But it's a journey.
And the ARC path is all about celebration. We want to celebrate every step along the way. So thank you for joining us today.
It's almost over.
It's
What's going
almost
on?
over.
Come on, I'm just getting started.
Well, let's get warmed up. What else we want to talk about? Here's what we want to talk about is we want to talk about you. We want to join with you. Join us in ARC group coaching. Join us in a dialogue. Share with us, where are you at and how has the ARC path improved your life? And by improved your life, where have you found the motivation to push through and do hard things? Where have you found the affirmation to recognize, hey, I got what it takes? I'm reading through the declarations of the ARC group coaching. I'm following along in our community page. Or maybe it's motivating you to pursue better.
Yeah.
We're going on a lifestyle path to pursue better. It's available.
Love that. Love that. It's exciting. And really it's hard to have this conversation because it requires a lot of self-reflection. The best way to do this is bring a friend along.
Mm.
And where you encourage each other, you listen to each other, you listen to each other's insights. We can share our insights all day long, but it's when one of your friends does it, it's completely different. And that's why really we're designed to do life together.
Yeah.
When you bring a friend along on a life betterment journey, wow, your growth is going to be exponential.
That's the key, is knowing that you're not going alone, but you're also equipped to lift yourself up. It is an element. Some people get triggered by the word self-improvement as if I'm doing something on my own, but you are the only one who can choose to show up as the best version of you. I mean, if I choose for Bernard, today you're going to be the best version of you.
Yay.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh, I'll do the work for you.
No,
That doesn't work.
no.
Each one of us has that choice, and the choice is for you today. My invitation for you to recognize is give yourself a hug, pat yourself on the back, come alongside and give yourself a high five. These are just physical actions. You ever given yourself a high five in the mirror? If you haven't, let that be today's task. I'm going to go up to the mirror and do a high five, and then when you look yourself in the eye there, say, "Great job, well done, keep it up. I see you. I'm really proud of you." These are the words we need to hear, folks. And don't wait for somebody else to say them. Give it
No.
to yourself today.
I love that. I love that. Record them and listen back. Man, that is so hard. But that's the journey. If you can't audibly listen to yourself, you can't audibly listen internally to yourself. I think record it, listen back. There's a lot of fun things you can pick up on the arc path. But you got to join. You got to put in the time, and the rewards are just amazing.
All right.
Uh,
Well, we're celebrating you. We're celebrating your next step. We're celebrating that you've moved forward today. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with the Insight Line every week. Our podcast this week is about embracing the imposter, and our art group coaching is helping you recognize you are surrounded for greatness. And so let's be great for other people as well as ourselves. Have a great week. We'll see you again here soon.